This is number 7 in Book D. We have moved into the G position. This is our second lesson in G position, so we're close to middle C here. G position, this G position is with these two right here with 1st and 5th on G. And I've been wishing, this one reminds me of Molly Malone a little bit. So I'd actually like your child to play a little closer to 120 once they can do it. So we're going to play this one faster. We're not, and normally I don't ever tell you to play that fast, but I think this one they can do, and I think it's supposed to be played. It says happily, and it sounds like that other song. I think it should be played a little bit faster, but when they're working out the rhythms, they're going to have to start closer to 70, obviously. So what we have here, we have a theme, and then it returns to the theme here at the very end for these two. This is our variation right here. This is a repeat, so the first time they play this twice, and then they play it to the end and stop. This is repeated here. This is repeated here. The difference between these two is this little pickup note right there. So they want to come in. They want to come in fast and then play. So this is speed there. That's what that sounds like. And this is the variation. This measure plus these two notes here, so 5 beats right here, are repeated right here. If they can play this, then they can play this. This is where they really need to put their brains and their eyes and their fingers is right through here. Obviously the B is repeated here. That's easy to see. This one goes back down to the G with your first finger, and then the A is played with the second. I'm going to play these two so that you can hear how big of a difference it is. They're going to want to play this twice because of muscle memory, and it sounds fine when you do it. It actually sounds fine. So given that, if you're not aware that this should sound different, if you're listening to them from across the room, you need to be aware that sound, even though it sounds right, it isn't. So, and it comes in right before we return to this theme. So you can kind of have your ears ready to hear that. This is the first time. I'll just play this measure, which is, see how that comes up? Then the second time it's coming down. And this is this one. And then return. So this is second finger in both. Second, third, fourth, and then they come back to the fast. Well, not fast, but lots of notes there. Okay. I will go ahead and play this. I don't have the metronome running. I'm going to just play it. What I'm thinking is close to 120 so that you can get an idea of the ultimate goal. Okay, so that's that one. I didn't play the return or the repeat that first time. And here is the technique book that goes with this. And this, the right hand, they're going to have had practice. You want to start with this one first. The right hand, they'll have had practice with this because this melodic phrase is in the song. The left hand is going to give them more trouble. I'm going to talk you through the left hand first. 4th finger on A, so it's fast, and then G, and then lift the wrist, and then come back down on G again, lift, and then they can repeat it in the top. And then the bottom. Now, I know I get on my soapbox about this, the wrist, being able to move this wrist upward so that we're not just down here the whole time. And I've told the kids this a lot of times. The reason why we come off is so that this key is released gently. It keeps the dampers from slamming down into the strings to stop the sound, which is true. I mean, that is one of the reasons why. Sometimes that's the sound we're looking for, something starchy and stocky, and that's great for lots of pieces. Not this, not when we're coming off of a slur and we're starting a new phrase. We want it to be more pearly and lyrical and kind of a rich sound. And in order to do that, we need to come down. We need to come from up here, not just use our fingers. So when we're coming down, we can control our tone and make it sound the way that we like. That's the technical way to do that. But if we don't lift our wrist, then we're not in position to be able to do that. So that's the second reason why we like to get that roll up at the end of the phrase there. Okay, so that's it for this week. If we can get it to 120, that would be super. If you can't, if it's still close to 70, that's okay. Most of these pieces in the solo and lesson book we want to work on for about 2 weeks. So let's get it technically correct first, and then add the speed. One or two ticks at a time. My personal rule for speeding up when I play, I have to play it correctly twice before I speed up. And you know, and again, the reason why we play it slow is because if you learn slow or if you play slow, you forget slow. And so we want to slowly forget. We don't want to forget fast. So if you learn slow, if you learn and practice slow, you forget slow. So start really slowly. The brain does not remember tempo. It just doesn't. They've done lots of studies on this. It doesn't remember tempo. It remembers the notes and what the notes sound like. So it doesn't matter if you practice slowly, the brain will remember that. So as long as it's correct, think of like what we say in sports, perfect practice makes perfect. Not practice makes perfect. Now we're saying perfect practice makes perfect. That's true with piano too. If we're hearing it right and we're getting our fingers right slowly, then when it comes time to speed it up, that part then will go fast. We'll be able to speed it up just immediately. But start slow. Okay, paperwork, it's just, this week it's just front and back out of the, I believe, the note reading book. And this is just practicing with our intervals to see the bottom note goes on the bottom. As always, I like to read from the bottom up. There's a reason for that because it also names the chord. The bottom note is the name of the chord. So read when it's a fifth. So read from the bottom up and write the bottom note, head, note, name in the box. And then the back, we just have more note reading. All right, have a good week.